Hi, I'm Jonathan Hoover, and this is Noah's Window. This is the second in a two-part series about how do you keep from losing God's favor in your life. In the first video, we talked about Joseph and how Joseph made a series of very intentional decisions to stay out of the way of temptation in order to stay under the umbrella of God's blessing. Now we're moving forward to talk about David. This is in 1 Samuel chapter 24. We're talking about this sort of dark season in David's life where the previous king of Israel, Saul, is trying to chase David down and kill David, even though David's never done anything bad to Saul. As a matter of fact, all David has ever done has been loyal to Saul, served Saul, and tried to do the best that he could to work under Saul when he was employed by the king. But now David is being chased all over the place by Saul. He's really literally having to fight for his life. And in 1 Samuel chapter 24, we run across this weird sort of situation where David catches Saul in a vulnerable position in a cave and could have taken Saul out just like that. Would have been a complete shortcut to becoming the king of Israel. And to everyone around him, it makes perfect sense that he would take Saul out at this point. As a matter of fact, David's men are telling him, this is God that is making this opportunity available. The Lord has really given you Saul to take him out. But David doesn't. David does something really interesting. He cuts off a little piece of Saul's garment, and he does it so well that Saul's not even aware that he did it. There's no question that David could have easily taken Saul out in this situation. But he doesn't. And he says later on, he says, there's an old proverb that says, from evil people come evil deeds. So in some way, he's able to sort of zoom out from the situation, not pay attention necessarily to all the circumstances and what he's going through, and see it so big picture that he can say, this is one of those times where two wrongs don't make a right. If I were to take Saul out, it doesn't make this situation better. That's the key. David is saying, if I were to take Saul out, I'm not going to improve the situation. I'm actually going to make it worse. What's the point that I'm making? The point that I'm making is that can doesn't always equal should. David was wise and wise enough to stay under the umbrella of God's blessing in his favor because he understood that just because he could take Saul out didn't mean that he should take Saul out. And he recognized that it was not the time and it wasn't the right thing to do. Right? So one of the things that I would encourage you to do today as you go through the course of your day is to ask yourself, if you find yourself almost doing something that would normally sort of contradict your own conscience or contradict your moral code, to ask yourself for a second, am I doing this because it's the right thing, or am I just doing it because it's something that I can do? And because I feel like this is an opportunity for me to take a shortcut to what it is that I want, or am I doing it because it's the right thing? Can doesn't always equal should, right? So make sure that what you do today is in line with what God is calling you to do and in line with doing what shows God's favor and grace and glory in your life rather than doing something evil to repay back evil. That's the lesson that David's trying to teach us in 1 Samuel 24. I hope you have a great day. This has been Noah's Window. We'll see you next time.